when you grow a seed, when you sow the seed on the floor, it grows into a plant. Let's say it's an apple tree. You collect the apples. Those apples are made from solar energy, but also from soil. There's a piece of that soil that's going through the tree as nutrients. So you are eating part of the soil. So when we're getting coffee from halfway across the world, we're drinking it here in Greece, and then we throw it in the trash. We're literally throwing somebody else's land in the trash instead of bringing it back to the soil and continue creating soil.
Καλημέρα, καλώς ήρθατε. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ που είστε μαζί μας. Θα ακούσουμε μια ομιλία του Armando Cruz που έχει τίτλο Food as Resistance. Armando is a nature conservationist, educator and activist. He grows a lot of his own food, and his ultimate goal is to promote and develop systems of community and positive ecological and social impact for all animals, including humans. Armando, we are ready to listen to you.
Well, good morning. So my presentation will be in English. Thank you, Greece, for receiving me and for being the first presenter here today. It's an honor. Thank you for the organization for having me. So I would like just to mention briefly, and I'll be reading initially because there's some things that I find important and I don't want to forget. So there will be a brief mention of war in the beginning, so you can deal with this information as you'd like. I'll present for about 30 minutes. Please feel free to engage and ask questions, but there'll also be time for you to ask questions at the end. All right? And we can also talk outside. I'll be here all weekend. I couldn't hear.
Is it okay to take photos?
Yes, please take photos. I'm not that famous, so I'm not famous at all. So, we are seeing an escalated use of food as a weapon of war and manipulation. Also true, food can also be a love language. It can bring a sense of community. Usually we eat together sometimes and feel warm. Food can be healing. So as temporary visitors of this planet, the way we obtain our food can promote or resist the different ways that the food system can impact us as individuals, as societies, and as regions in the world. Not this one, I need this. I'll not be speaking on how food can be used to show our disapproval of a therapies or to bring awareness about the urgency about climate change and how the fossil fuel is a big part of that. I want to show the type of resistance that people endure, especially during tough moments like here and happening today. And this is just one example of the many happening in the world, in different countries and regions. And how people have to be resourceful to fight, in this case, a genocide. And this is a specific case of how food is being used as a weapon and people are being deprived of food so they can evacuate an area in this world. And here us, pretty much most of us are privileged individuals that can also resist on how we are conditioned from the time we are born to the moment we just walk on the street, through the movies we watch, through the lobbying of large companies who try to tell us that we should eat this or eat that to be healthy, to demonstrate our social status. If we eat this, then we are a higher class. If we don't eat this, then we not as high of a class. To celebrate that when we're depressed, you should eat this or eat that. When you're happy, you should eat this or drink that. We must be aware and deconstruct these social norms that we get connected, deconstruct these social norms and get connected to our neighbors, to our local farmers, to our communities, to nature, and also to ourselves as a people, also as to our spirit. We need to resist the constant washing of extractive practices under propaganda of community good. So today I hope I can inspire you. I hope I can bring you to try to look for more information, to be curious. Because, for example, in the case of Greece, in 2023, over 27% of people could not afford proper food on a daily basis. And just to get a feel of who I'm speaking to here today, I'd like to ask, how many people here grow food at home? Whether it is a pot, by show of hands. Like if you have a pot in the home or a home garden, anybody? One? Maybe? Okay. So most of us don't, but who would like to? Somebody here would like to? Oh, wow, that was fast. Okay. Anybody here who knows a farmer or has a family who are farmers, who grow some food? Some? Okay, thank you. Just so I have an idea of who I'm talking to and I get a feel of the room. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about Armando, which is a small project that I have in Portugal. I lived in the US. I was born in Portugal. I went to the US for 16 years and I returned in 2021. And then I started this project called Armando that I'll talk about. Speak a little bit about how animals are in agriculture and how they get impacted also by agriculture, including plant-based agriculture. Talk briefly about veganism, capitalism in veganism, and how we can take action throughout the whole presentation. This is just an introduction. It's not to judge anyone. If somebody feels judged, maybe there's a reason why. So at this moment, I am the Portuguese leader for this project called Curious Soil. And it pretty much assesses soil literacy, so how soil education is being taught in schools. I'm also an ambassador for another European project called EcoSoil, also happening here in Greece. And the objective of this project is to take soil samples just to see the quality of the soil that we have, including contaminants. So in order for us to take action, usually it's good to know what is happening around us. So if we know our soils are good, then we need to take this action. If we know that our soil are very poor, then we need to take other actions. Also, I really appreciate what John is doing here. It's really nice that the organization wants to be inclusive of everyone as much as possible. So when I went to Portugal in 2021, I started with this garden that was under black plastic with some pine bark on top, and it was like a desert. And it was like this for about 20 years. And within about 2 years, we turned it into a food garden as much as possible, and also as my mental health allows, because sometimes I don't feel as motivated to do things, even though gardening is good for your mental health. I also do education workshops and consulting. I try to work with communities and create change through education. I believe, and it's also been shown now, that when we have healthy soil, we can have healthy people because we are eating also healthier food. And this will create also a healthier planet. Okay, so when we take care of the soil will give us good food, and overall we'll just continue taking care of our own planet. So one part of the project from Armenia is I collect coffee grounds. So you go drink your coffee, and what happens to the coffee grounds when the coffee is done? Usually it goes to the trash. So just to give you a little bit of background, when you grow a seed, when you sow the seed on the floor, it grows into a plant. Let's say it's an apple tree. You collect the apples. Those apples are made from solar energy, but also from soil. There's a piece of that soil that's going through the tree as nutrients. So you are eating part of the soil. So when we're getting coffee from halfway across the world, we're drinking it here in Greece, and then we throw it in the trash. We're literally throwing somebody else's land in the trash instead of bringing it back to the soil and continue creating soil. So just to put that picture on you, in your minds, that when you are throwing some food in the trash, you're literally throwing soil in the trash instead of continuing to bring it back to the soil and do like almost like a circular economy, but for ecosystems. Oh, yeah, I collected over 12,000 kilos in 3 years. So, just me. So we like to believe that I like to turn waste into taste. And I've seen this in Greece here also in the last 2 days that I was here. And people throw plants in the trash when they could compost them, for example. So bring these plants back into the soil and turn them back into healthy soil. And if anybody here is vegan or plant-based, most of our food comes from the soil. Pretty much the only thing that comes from the ocean is seaweed, for example. But most of our food is going to come from soil, unless it's aquaponics, for example, but in general. So this is how I do it. I usually go get the coffee grounds, I collect them, and make compost. And then with the help of worms that were already in the soil, they transform this into rich, living soil, full of life, like bacteria, fungus, other insects. So we use our ecosystem to help us accelerate processes. We also like to, because we grow a lot of our own food, and this is where we are using food as resistance. So if we grow something, then we don't have to buy it. And when you grow it, your impact is a lot lower usually than if you have to buy something, especially if you're buying off-season, which means that may come from a very long distance. So there's transportation, gas emissions, people are getting enslaved into these types of products depending on what it is. So for example, coffee, cacao, all of us love chocolate, but it comes from very far away, and a lot of times people are used as harvesters, especially children. So we encourage to grow your food if you can, and if you can't, to share with others or receive from others. Create a community around you so you can have some security also. I'm lucky to have neighbors that have been farmers their whole life, so when I'm lacking something, usually they already are offering me the next day, so I'm lucky for that. So exchanging this creates this community of support. And this is not just with food, this is emotional also. Everything is interconnected. So just a brief, this can be heavy sometimes, so I need to throw something to bring our spirits up a little more. Also because in agriculture, sometimes we grow a lot. Even in a small space, we can grow a lot of the same thing. So we tend to store, we donate also, and when we could, we try to sell some things as well to make some income, but most of the times we just grow to eat ourselves or to share. Because we make it a point of also eating in season. And this also brings you to be creative with how you cook. So if you have 100 kilos of apples, then you have to figure out how you're going to use all those apples within a couple of months. So this helps us to also look for information and how we can use food in different ways. And some of the things that we also do, again, to reduce our impact, to make more, so we don't have to buy as much. We make some yogurt, we make hummus, snacks, tahini, seitan, and also cleaning products. Also to keep our water clean. The more cleaning products we buy from the store, usually, they're more likely to have a lot of chemicals impacting our oceans, impacting our rivers. So in Portugal, it was very common for me when I was little to go to the fountain and get water. I can no longer do that because of the different chemicals used in agriculture and because of the different chemicals that we use in our homes that tend to go to rivers. So even when we are eating plant-based foods, they have to grow somehow. And I invite you to be connected with these foods. And a lot of times, they can be used with fertilizers. And you're like, oh, fertilizers, it's probably chemical. But a lot of times, there are hidden animal products in them. So for example, bone meal and blood meal from the slaughterhouses, which they are very good at making sure they use everything from the slaughterhouse. So whatever is their waste, they usually turn into fertilizer or to food for other animals. The compost may also have some animal products, and the manure, obviously, it's an animal byproduct as well. On the processing, and here I might be going fast with some information, but this is just to give you a little taste and to get you, maybe some of this you already know. The egg whites are sometimes used to clarify the wine, to make it more clear and to remove impurities. And fruit wax to make sure the fruit can stay on the shelf for longer. So I have an apple at home that's been there for like 2 months and is just shriveled. And it was like in perfect condition in terms of color. It was perfect still, but it was just like all shriveled. And I was like, I wonder how this apple can last this long without a fungus taking over. Bone char is been used for to making sugar more white. Sometimes we wonder why sugar is not vegan. Maybe there's a reason why. Or it doesn't have the vegan label. And food coloring, usually the color red, lately has been used with an insect that the red color comes from. In the field, and this includes with plants, especially in mass scale, animals are victims of the harvesting. When we use herbicides, fungicides, and pesticides to grow food or to kill other plants, these also have an impact on animals and also on our own health. So usually I say, if you're going to grow your own food and you're still going to use herbicides or fungicides because you don't want other animals to attack that food, just buy it because you're buying the same thing and you don't have to do that much work. It takes time to grow food, but it's very rewarding also. Light touch on vegan capitalism. I hope we don't have any of those brands out there because then it's going to be weird. So Danone is a big company. And we usually see like these new vegan companies, doing these amazing products. And after a while, they just get bought because they become very profitable and they get the attention of these bigger companies like Danone. So Alpro is an example of that. They got purchased by Danone. So now Danone gets more profits. And sometimes when we are buying this, because we're like, okay, I want more vegan products, I want to promote this, but when you are also buying these products that are owned by a bigger company, you're financing them, a big, especially dairy industry company as well. So just be mindful of the food choices that you make because they can be promoting. And a lot of these now are also promoting the war and the genocide in the different places of the world. So it's a complicated world these days, and unfortunately, you have to get very informed. Sorry. So be also kind to yourself. It's hard to do the best possible, and sometimes we judge ourselves a lot. So be kind to yourself and do one change at a time, all right? So the more we consume, and this is not only food, this goes with everything else, with clothing and everything else like that, we can have a larger impact on the environment because all this needs natural resources: water, soil, air. Paper materials need wood. Portugal is a big exporter of paper, and we have a big eucalyptus industry, and for that reason also we have a big fire risk, we are a very large fire risk, and every year we have really huge fires. And we blame the people because they don't clean the forests. Animals get involved also just through transportation. Many animals get killed. I mean, if you want to just see the example of insects, when you look at your windshield when you're driving, right? Imagine these big trucks and big planes and big boats. All the waste, a lot of this food is processed, so it has to be packaged, and therefore this trash needs to go somewhere. So I just came from Alimos, and there was a big market. So as much as we can, if we can buy directly from farmers, our impact will be automatically reduced. Also because we are financing the farmer directly. A lot of times these big companies, they give the farmer very little. Even though they depend on them completely, the farmer is the one that receives the smallest part of the profit, unfortunately. True story, in Portugal, for example, the apple industry, the farmer produces apples. They give the apples to the distributor. They get a very small amount of money just to cover the cost of the harvest. And then maybe 6 months later, when the season is over and when they sold all the apples, that's when they decide how much they're going to pay the farmer. So all the risk of something going wrong with the production, with the transportation, the farmer is the one that's going to receive the smallest amount. So there's no risk for the distributor, for the stores, because they get the full product, the full price. The farmer is always at risk of not receiving anything. And this can be overwhelming. I try to put something Greek. Maybe I'm just not very cultural, knowledgeable, but I tried something. So sometimes we feel like, wow, we're doing so much already. What else? Something else for me to do? Something else for me to worry about? Come on, Armando. But start small. I mean, if any of us went vegan, it didn't go from one day to the other. It took us some time. Some of us went vegetarian, some of us stopped cutting this, cutting that. So maybe if you want to start growing your own food, and a lot of us put our hands up, maybe you start with a small pot in your windowsill, outside. Start with something small, and it'll be beautiful. You see the plant growing, it'll be very rewarding. And I don't know if anybody here knows a sanctuary, has been to a sanctuary, owns a sanctuary, an animal sanctuary. Yes? So the biggest bill in the sanctuaries is veterinary bills and food. You always hear sanctuaries, we are running out of food, we need 100 euros by tomorrow. And if sanctuaries, on their planning, when they're making the sanctuary, which is a business, it's not a business, it should be treated as a business because you need to make money, or else you'll always resort out of donations. You could plan into that growing food for the animals also if you have the space. And it also makes the space more beautiful, more environmentally friendly, and also better for the animals if they can have a lot of their own food there. Therefore, you don't have to buy to the big company, which also sells animal products. You see the circle, how this always goes back to the same thing. And this can be as simple as having cabbages growing, or having trees that grow fruits or nuts so the animals can eat, which then can also provide them shade, which also are homes for other animals, better ecosystems, better for the people, better for the animals, better for the planet. So some other words of encouragement or tips. Try to eat fresh and eat local, just like I spoke. And usually these markets help to do that. Some of them also buy this stuff from large companies, and they sell it as if they were growing them themselves. But at least here you can speak to the farmer and talk to them. Like, hey, how did you grow it? Where are you? Connecting with people. We're becoming so disconnected because now we can just go to our phone, beep, 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 order our food, and it gets to our location in a few minutes. We don't know who is the cook, we don't know their name, if they even are somewhere close or not. We lose connection with people, we lose connection with our food, we lose connection with the soil. So try to go to the source and see where these places are and connect to farmers, connect to neighbors. When we are doing this, we hear all the time that we're having mass extinctions and that we're having big rains and long periods of drought. I mean, here in Greece, you have rain like 3 times a year, I hear. And we just had something crazy a couple days ago. We were here trying to build a tent, and they were breaking with the water and the wind. So nature is telling us something. And we're not acting fast enough to try to minimize that. And it's very difficult to make a change. But it is within every single one of us to do something. Because our own health, including our mental health, depends on it. Our health depends on our surroundings, it depends on what we eat, it depends on how we deal with things. And I don't know if you've heard about the blue zones, the areas in the world, and Greece is one of them, where there's more centenarians, more people over 100 years old. And one of the main things is eating more plants, having a community, having a social life, and being physically active throughout your life. And these were the things they found in common in these different places in the world. Sovereignty. I heard this word can be very difficult to understand, but it's pretty much like what I was doing, growing my own food. It brings me food sovereignty, it brings me food security. I am able to have this, I'm lucky to be able to grow a lot of my own food. And every time we eat, we feel so lucky because a lot of people have to buy it, so they have to work. Sometimes they have to do jobs that they don't want in order to have food that they were told that they should eat that. And we get this, again, we lose this connection. So a lot of things that also people ask me sometimes, oh, you don't have a steady job, how are you able to live? Well, a lot of the money that I don't spend in food is because I grow it. So it takes time, but also because I make choices that allow me to have lower bills. So if we are able to buy from smaller farmers or financing them, it's cheaper, and you're creating a little change in your community. Like, we don't always have to go make a change halfway across the world. If we start with our own communities, we'll see that it will all be interconnected. Not saying that you shouldn't speak up for other places in the world, you should. But sometimes we focus so much on the outside, and then nothing happens around you. So whether your action will be to maybe start growing some food in your home now, or to connect with a neighbor that has food, or you're so lucky here, in Portugal this doesn't happen. You have fruit trees right on the street. or olive trees right on the street. In Portugal, we also have orange trees, but they're sour, so you don't eat them, which is crazy. So imagine if in cities we had more fruit trees where people can just go and harvest. Please wash them before. If you can just go in a city garden and harvest lettuce or something, how meaningful would that be? And how beautiful would that be for you to be able to do that? Hope I can encourage you to maybe compost now, at least your coffee grounds. There are apps that can lead you to people. There are maps of where people collect these things. If you have a local farmer, a neighbor that has a garden, you can give it to them as well. And you help them also to improve the soil here. So knowing very little about soil, I see the soils here in Greece, and Portugal is becoming like that, are very degraded. What people call poor, or they are weak, they're not strong. So if we bring more food matter, we bring more life to them, and they are able to grow food also with less pesticides or none. So if we take care of our soil, it'll take care of us, and we don't have to continue using these chemicals that are also very energy heavy. And build communities. So here we were in a permaculture get-together, and we were sharing seeds, sharing things, connecting with people. One of the reasons why I came here to Athens was to also get to know more people that are doing similar things than I am. And this is the value of, this was the investment of the plane ticket, blah, 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 because I believe in these connections. I believe in staying in touch with people and knowing their stories, learning from them. It's really cool you're doing that here in Greece, such a big vegan festival, or other festivals, it doesn't matter. But connect with people. We're getting so divided. Oh, they like this person, so I'm not going to like them. Oh, they don't speak against this, so I'm not going to speak to them. We tend to find where things are disconnected. We tend to find the differences instead of finding where we are, the things that we believe in, where we have similarities. If you want to learn a little bit more about veganic gardening, which is growing food without any animal products at all, or animals, there's a vegan summit. It's usually free on November 7th and 9th, is online. I was a speaker last year, and they have also sanctuaries, how sanctuaries can also be, more sustainable. I'll be here all weekend, so you can speak to me outside. Now I can open the floor if you have any more questions. And just remember that your food choices matter, and every single choice that you make has an impact somewhere along the whole chain. A product can be vegan, but was the whole process from planting the seed to growing it, to harvesting it, to transportation, to bring it to some sort of a shelf, to you, was the whole process as humane as possible? We don't know. It's hard to know. It's very hard to know also. Thank you so much.